WWE 12 released on 2011, over a decade ago, with a badass tagline of being a bigger, badder, and better. And considering that it is one of the games that I love to revisit the most, especially because of how awesome the universe mode is, I think it's fair to say that it lived up to the expectations. So much so that we had to go back, and on this video we got 10 insanely awesome things in WWE 12 that you probably forgot, and that up to this date, some of these awesome and unique features were so good that I just want to see them in WWE 2K22 and WWE 2K games after that. Anyways, you guys know what to do. Hit an elbow drop on the like button, make sure to subscribe and have those notifications turned on for both channels, and let's jump right into it. After SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, THQ decided to just drop the SmackDown vs. Raw series, so WWE 12 was born. By then it was the 13th entry in the WWE series, with a lot of brand new gameplay mechanics, but also bringing back what the fans love from previous years. And the first thing we're discussing is in regards to the cover star. Cause yes, Randy Orton was the main cover star of WWE 12, but back then they used to do something a bit different, and that is give us a different cover depending on what region they're selling the game. Such as for Mexico and the rest of South America, the cover star ended up being Sin Cara. And I bet in that version of the game, we didn't get to see any botches. The roster for WWE 12 was unique and hard to forget because of the brand new additions and the extra changes that they ended up doing. In this roster, we got Batista as a DLC instead of him just being part of the regular roster. This was of course at the time where Batista was moving on to Hollywood, and although it wasn't the last time that we got to see him in the ring, him stepping out and pursuing that different career led to this in WWE 12. Besides Batista, Edge also went through a bit of changes, as he was now one of the legends and one that you were able to unlock by doing a specific challenge. Edge was of course forced to retire, so instead of them putting him on the Monday Night Raw roster or the SmackDown roster, he was now one of the legends. Something that ended up being even a bit more weird was the fact that they included Brock Lesnar in that Legends roster. I guess in a way THQ was letting us know that Brock Lesnar was gonna be returning to WWE just a couple of months after the release of the game. Brock was a special thing though, because we got to unlock him through universe mode, which we will talk about in a bit, but continuing with the rest of the roster, it's hard to forget the awesomeness of the roster because it included Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and even JR. They were part of the DLC roster, but this was big. We finally had the three of them as active competitors, all of which of course came about due to the fact that we had Michael Cole and Jerry the King Lawler WrestleMania match, so it made sense for them to be part of that roster and of course commentate their own match if they were the one competing. Nobody is gonna forget that awesome Michael Cole attire, especially in a WWE game. With all those awesome additions to the roster, unfortunately, this was also the game that ended up being the last game for many of our favorites and popular superstars. Just on the high-flying division, this was the last WWE game that we got to see John Morrison and Evan Bourne as part of the roster. And among other roster members like William Regal, a lot of them went on to be left out in upcoming games. Going back to Unlockables, WWE 12 was the start of us officially getting the NXT Arena as a yearly thing. Of course, the one that was featured on this was just a regular SmackDown and a Monday Night Raw set, but with the NXT branding on it. It is worth mentioning though that the NXT Arena was also on SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, but that was part of DLC. 12 finally started to take NXT a little bit more serious and even started to introduce a lot more of the NXT superstars in it. Of course, those early versions of Bray Wyatt and so on. Sticking with Unlockable though, as far as I remember, there was only one cheat code in the game, and that was so that you could unlock the WWE Attitude Era Heavyweight Championship, and of course to show love to Stone Cold Steve Austin, that cheat code was "oh hell yeah!" exclamation point. Oh, together. And yes, it was case sensitive because Stone Cold said so. And talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, that brings us to the next section and probably the most awesome part of this video. If there was one thing that WWE 12 did great, that was Universe Mode. To this day, you go back to it and you will encounter some amazing rivalries, so many cutscenes every single time that it really feels like you're just watching another episode of Raw or SmackDown, but one that's more entertaining than what we get to see nowadays. And the best thing about it was a lot of the unique and awesome cutscenes that we got to see when unlocking some of the superstars such as Brock Lesnar, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Michelle McCool, and Goldust. To unlock Brock Lesnar and trigger this secret cutscene, all you had to do was win the first one-on-one match in the Universe Mode. And it sounds simple, but a lot of times you needed to win more than one. The game sometimes didn't recognize these challenges, so you had to do them more than once. For Michelle McCool, you had to win at the Divas Championship in Universe Mode. And I'm not too sure if you had to do it with Layla, but I kinda did it anyways to reunite Lay Cool because they were awesome. Goldust had one of the best one, and you had to win a singles match with Cody Rhodes in Universe Mode. And because Cody Rhodes is such a heel, it would trigger a cutscene where he's gonna take out his opponent after beating him, which lead to Goldust coming out and confronting his brother, or leading to a feud after that. And for Stone Cold Steve Austin, it was all about the main event. You had to defend either major title, the WWE or the World Heavyweight Championship at a pay-per-view in Universe Mode. At the end of it, it wasn't much of a win because here comes Stone Cold Steve Austin and lays you out right in the middle of the ring. Oh, hells yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out of nowhere. Oh my God, what is happening to the battle ropes as well? Stomping the Mohawks. Oh, wow, calm down. Don't get me in trouble now with the good old middle fingers up in here. Popping the birdies. Look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, man. That is it for now, but trust me, there was a lot more unlockables, unique hidden features, awesome cutscenes for specific superstars and so on, that we were required to do another episode of this. That's how insanely awesome WWE 12 was, with so many features that, again, I really hope many of which make a return to the WWE 2K series. If you guys enjoyed this or found it informative, and if you guys want more, make sure to hit an elbow drop on the like button and turn on those notifications. And if you remember any other insanely awesome features and things from WWE 12, let me know down in the comments below. I'll catch you on the next one, so stay savage.